Hello, everyone, and welcome to 247 Digitize's Legal Support Services webinar on contract abstraction, essentials, and best practices. Before we dive into the agenda, a quick introduction to 247 Digitize. We are a US-based company headquartered in Chicago, Illinois, with offices in India. For over 18 years, our international team has been optimizing and executing business processes with excellence. Our core services include legal support, data management, and bookkeeping. My name is Samuel de la Torre. I am the head of marketing at 247 Digitize. With over 17 years of experience in marketing, both digital and traditional, I've worked in companies in different parts of the world, such as the US, Canada, the UK, India, and many places in Latin America. I have worked in different industries as well, from retail to insurance, and many more. And I have an MBA from Esan School of Business and a diploma from IAFIT University in Colombia in the topic of innovation. Joining me is Krishnaveni, a contract lifecycle management expert with over 15 years of experience. Her deep expertise in document review and litigation, combined with her strong leadership skills, makes her an invaluable part of our team. She has successfully led large teams and is committed to deliver excellence through her wealth of experience. Before we begin, feel free to leave any questions you have during the session. You can do that in the comment section on LinkedIn, and we will address them in the last section of the webinar. Now, I please request Krishnaveni to take this forward. Over to you, KB.
Sure, Sam. Thank you so much. Before we deep dive into the topics, let us view what would be our agenda for the webinar. As you can see on the screen, we have overview of contract abstraction and its importance covered. Also, the challenges in contract abstraction, followed by the best practices for contract abstraction to overcome these challenges. How do we apply these contract abstraction processes is also something that we will walk you through. And then performing contract abstraction. For any questions, like Sam mentioned, please feel free to drop it in the comment section. Okay, now let us begin with overview of contract abstraction. What is contract abstraction? It is the process of extracting the key elements of a contract and presenting them in a summarized or structured format, enabling stakeholders to quickly grasp its most important terms and conditions. Rather than reading the full contract, an abstract offers a high-level overview, focusing on essential clauses, obligations, and deadlines. Contract abstraction is performed through a blend of manual as well as automated techniques. Whether done manually by legal experts or using advanced AI tools, the key steps involved usually would be identifying relevant clauses, extracting the data into standardized formats, verifying the accuracy, and storing the information for easy retrieval. Well, this process is essential for efficient contract management, reducing risk, and enabling faster, more accurate decision making. Now that I have covered the overview, let's deep dive into the importance of contract abstraction. You very well see on the screen. The first one is the enhanced efficiency, which means it is time saving. When it comes to contract abstraction, instead of reading lengthy documents, stakeholders can quickly refer to the abstracted version, which highlights the key points. Also, faster decision making, whether for compliance checks, risk assessments, or due diligence, decision makers can assess a contract's terms without delving into the entire document. Then moving on, we have the risk management, which means contract abstraction helps identify potential risks or areas of concern. Example, unfavorable payment terms, liability clauses, so on and so forth, without having to comb the whole contract. And then by identifying and isolating key risk clauses, businesses can proactively address potential legal issues before they arise. Now, the improved compliance. Let us talk about the regulatory compliance here, wherein contracts often contain clauses that need to comply with specific regulations or standards, such as GDPR or any industry specific regulation for that matter. So, through abstraction, it is very easy to ensure that these compliances requirements are met and monitored. Also, for large organizations, managing numerous contracts is a pain for sure, but through abstraction summary, it helps keep track of obligations and ensures that nothing falls through the cracks. On the screen, we have the fourth point, which is streamlined contract lifecycle management, the CLM process. So, contract abstraction is a critical part of the broader CLM process. It supports contract tracking, renewal processes, and amendments by having key contract details easily accessible in an organized format. So, again, it's a centralized information rather than having the contract stored in separate, hard to navigate files. Abstraction enables organizations to store and manage the key contract information in the centralized database, which ensures easy access and reference. Cost savings, of course, because the legal teams can focus on the critical aspects of the contracts rather than manually reading each document in full, allowing them to prioritize legal resources on the most important contracts and tasks. Then, contract renewals and negotiations. By abstracting these key terms, businesses are better prepared when it comes to negotiating contract renewals or, for that matter, renegotiations, helping them save costs or avoid unfavorable terms. The sixth point covers on the facilitates collaboration, which means again, internally within the organization, there could be cross-functional usage, which means abstracted contracts are often easier to share across different departments such as legal, finance, procurement, you know, so on and so forth, since they focus on the key points most relevant to each team. And this way, simplified contract summaries improve communication between legal teams, management, and third party stakeholders, ensuring everyone is aligned on key contractual obligations and deliverables. Last one, it supports the dispute resolution, which means having abstracted versions of contracts at hand allows businesses to quickly locate critical clauses, such as, again, I'll back up with some examples like force majeure or breach of contract terms. In such events, event of a dispute or legal issue, contract abstraction is very much handy. Then faster access to relevant information, which means in case of litigation or arbitration, legal teams can refer to abstracted contracts, ensuring that critical information is presented clearly and promptly. With this, I would like Sam to talk more about the challenges in contract abstraction. Over to you, Sam.
Thank you very much, KB. So, contract abstraction is a powerful tool for managing and summarizing key contract information, but it's not without its challenges. Here are some common obstacles some organizations might face during the contract abstraction process. Number one, inconsistent or incomplete abstraction. The challenge is that when a contract abstraction process are not standardized, inconsistencies may arise in how contracts are summarized. Different team members may abstract contracts differently, resulting in missing information or misinterpretation of key items and key terms. Missing critical clauses. Number two, contract abstraction involves identifying the most important clauses, but there is always a risk that critical clauses could be overlooked, especially in long or complex contracts. Missing essential clauses, such as termination rights, indemnity provisions, or dispute resolution mechanisms, can lead to misunderstandings, legal issues, or financial. Next one, lack of legal expertise. Contract abstraction typically involves legal language and technical terms, which require an understanding of contract law to interpret properly. Team members without legal expertise may struggle to extract the correct terms or misunderstand their implications. Going to number 4, oversimplification of complex clauses. The challenge is, in an effort to simplify, abstraction might overly condense complex clauses, resulting in a loss of important details. Number 5, inefficient or manual processes. Contract abstraction can be a time-consuming process, especially when done manually. If contracts are lengthy or there is a high volume of agreements to abstract, this can create bottlenecks and lead to delays. Furthermore, manual errors can compromise the accuracy of abstracts. Going to number 6, difficulty in handling non-standard contracts. Not all contracts follow the same structure. Some may have unique clauses or be written in non-standard formats, making it difficult to apply a one-size-fits-all abstraction approach. This can particularly affect industries with diverse contract types, for instance, construction or healthcare. Risk of data security breaches. Going to number 7. The challenge is that contracts often contain sensitive and confidential information, such as financial terms, trade secrets, and personal data. If abstraction processes are not secure, there is a risk that this data could be exposed. Going to number 8, inconsistent terminology and language. Contracts are often drafted in legal jargon that may not be consistent across all agreements. The use of different terminology for similar concepts can create confusion when abstracting contracts. Going to number 9, lack of integration with other systems. If the contract abstraction process is disconnected from other contract management or business systems, for example, contract lifecycle management, CLM tools, financial tracking systems, it can be difficult to track and manage the contract data effectively, leading to inefficiencies or missed opportunities for optimization. Going to number 10, failure to continuously update abstractions. The challenge is that contracts are not static documents. They may be amended, renewed, or terminated over time. If contract abstractions aren't regularly updated, outdated or incorrect information can be used. Number 11, over-reliance on automated tools. While automation and AI tools can significantly speed up the contract abstraction process, there is a risk of over-relying on them and ignoring the need for human oversight. Over-reliance on AI without proper review could lead to inaccurate or incomplete abstractions. Number 12, inadequate training for team members. Team members may not have the necessary skills or knowledge to abstract contracts effectively, especially when dealing with complex or highly specialized agreements. Inexperienced team members may struggle with identifying critical terms, leading to incomplete or inaccurate abstractions that can impact business decisions. Over to you, KB.
Thank you, Sam. The challenges have been clearly outlined. There's always a solution to every problem, and similarly, we can tackle these challenges that you have mentioned by adhering to best practices. Implementing these best practices in contract abstraction guarantees that contracts are managed efficiently, accurately, and effectively. On the screen, you will see the standardized abstract process as one of the best practices. So create a template or framework to extract and organize key information from every contract. Treat every contract individually, like the MSA, SOW, or change orders. Do not club them. This ensures that each contract is abstracted in a uniform way, making it easier to compare and reference across multiple documents. I'll state one example here for template structure, which is very generic in nature. Parties involved, key terms such as payment, duration, termination, then obligations of each party, important dates and deadlines, then termination and renewal clauses, dispute resolution, confidentiality or non-compete clauses, governing law, jurisdiction. Use consistent terminology and structure for all contracts to ensure that abstracts are easily navigable and comparable. The second point I would like to highlight is focus on key clauses and terms. Identify the critical information. Focus on abstracting the most important terms of the contract Again, it's based on the industry, but the common and key clauses would be something like the payment terms, contract duration, obligations, so on and so forth. Then not all terms are equal, by the way. So ensure that you focus on those elements that are critical to contract performance, risk management, and future reference. Leverage tool technology and automation. So leverage AI and machine learning powered tools that can automate parts of the abstraction process. I'll cover this in detail in the upcoming slides. So I'll park this for a while. Integrate your abstraction process with your CLM system to automatically store and organize abstracted contract data for easy access and tracking. The fourth one on the screen, ensure accuracy and completeness. Abstraction involves condensing complex language into summaries. So it's important to ensure that critical information is not lost or misinterpreted. Check abstracted data against the original contract to verify accuracy and double check the key details. Regularly update abstracted contracts like track amendments. Contracts can change over time due to amendments, renewals, or renegotiations. So ensure that the abstraction is updated whenever the contract is modified. And also have a control on the versions. So implement version control to keep track of changes in abstracted data, making it easy to refer to the most recent contract terms. We will talk about the centralized repository here, which is store abstracted contracts in a central, easily accessible repository that can be accessed by relevant stakeholders such as legal, finance, and procurement teams. Also ensure the repository is searchable by key terms, dates, parties involved, etc. Automate the identification of key terms. Use advanced AI tools to automate the identification of key terms and clauses. These tools can help in recognizing common language patterns, making it faster to extract relevant information. Also, automatically tag abstracted data for easier reference. For example, you can tag contracts by payment terms, confidentiality, or termination to make the data easily sortable. Collaborate with relevant stakeholders. Again, the best practice is always stay in touch, communicate well with the stakeholders from different departments, such as legal, procurement, compliance, etc., to identify which terms and clauses are most important to abstract. This collaboration ensures that the abstraction captures the data that is most critical to different teams within the organization. Also, one can gather feedback on how to improve the abstraction process and what key terms are most frequently needed. And then talking about the 9 point here, confidentiality. Contracts often contain sensitive data, and the abstraction process should ensure that this information is kept secure. Implement appropriate access controls to ensure only authorized personnel can access abstracted contracts. You can have a local repository set for the restricted contracts. If abstracting contracts that contain personal or confidential data, ensure compliance with data protection regulations such as GDPR or other regulatories as per your industry. Then regularly train your team on how to abstract contracts effectively. Make sure they understand the legal implications of the key clauses they are summarizing and how to avoid common errors. Encourage continuous learning to improve the team's efficiency and expertise. The 11th point, I would like to highlight more on the contract analytics here, because use data from abstracted contracts to analyze trends and patterns across multiple agreements speak a lot. So this can provide valuable insights into your organization's contracting practices. highlight areas for improvement, and help with future negotiations. By looking at aggregated abstracted data, identify recurring issues or sorry clauses that may need to be revised or updated across all the contracts. The last one, establish clear guidelines for abstraction, is nothing but establish clear guidelines regarding what information must be abstracted and what can be omitted. For example, you may not need to abstract entire recitals section of a contract, but the clauses about payment or termination should always be included. Mm, Moving on to the next slide, Sam, could you throw some light on the applications of contract abstraction, please?
Sure. Thanks, KB.
Thanks.
So, regarding the applications of contract abstraction involves creating simplified, concise summaries of complex contracts, highlighting the most important terms and conditions without including all the detailed legal language. This approach has several applications across industries and legal fields. Some of these key applications include mergers and acquisitions, M&A. During M&A transactions, contract abstraction is used to quickly analyze a target company's contracts, identify critical provisions that could impact the deal, such as change of control clauses or existing liabilities. Point number two, procurement and vendor management. Contract abstraction helps procurement teams easily access key terms from supplier contracts, enabling efficient contract renewals, negotiations, or compliance checks. Number three, litigation and risk management. By abstracting and analyzing contracts for potential risks, businesses can identify clauses that could lead to disputes, helping them prepare for litigation or risk mitigation strategies. And lastly, corporate governance. Legal teams use contract abstraction to ensure that corporate agreements align with governance policies, regulations, and internal guidelines. With all this having been explained, we can go back to you, KB.
Thanks, Sam. The next one, I would like to deep dive into performing contract abstraction. If you see the table, we have different methods like manual abstraction, automated abstraction, and templates and standards. And also, how is it done, examples and benefits. I'll go through one by one. The first one being manual abstraction. In traditional contract abstraction, legal professionals such as paralegals or contract managers, they read through each contract carefully, extract key clauses, and enter the information into a standardized template. This method provides a high level of control and accuracy, but it can be time consuming and prone to human error, especially when dealing with large volumes of documents. Uh, So, to give you an example, imagine a lease agreement that needs to be abstracted. A paralegal would go through the contract and identify critical clauses such as lease term, rent amount, termination clauses, maintenance obligations. So let's say lease term. So it's manually entered as start date, maybe Jan 1, 2025, and end date is December 31, 2030. It's all manually entered in the set template. And then automated abstraction is with advancements in legal technology. Many organizations are turning to AI powered tools and machine learning softwares to automate the contract abstraction process. These tools can scan and analyze contracts using natural language processing, which is NLP in short, a type of AI that understands and processes human language. So, automated abstraction tools can identify and extract key clauses without a human intervention. It saves time and improves consistency, especially when dealing with large volumes of contracts. For contracts in scanned PDF or image format, OCR tools can help convert them into editable, searchable text, making the abstraction process more efficient. Again, let me give you an illustration here. A company using AI powered contract management software to automate abstraction might upload a vendor agreement to their system. The AI tool will automatically scan and the contract and it identifies the key clauses such as payment terms, delivery schedule, termination rights. But it produces a complete language, such as for payment terms, it might say uh, vendor to receive $50,000 quarterly payments for services rendered. So that's something that is picked by the software. So the software basically then automatically generates a contract summary that can be reviewed by a legal professional to ensure accuracy. The key benefit here is that the process can be completed in a fraction of the time it would take to do manually. Compared to the manual extraction, this is much faster, I would say, and the software can handle a much higher volume of documents. So the benefits on the last right hand side, you can see it's speed, consistent, and scalability. But again, there are challenges with this automated abstraction as well, which is initial setup. Implementing AI tools require an upfront investment in software and training and human oversight, because you are too much, um, involving AI into these and dependent as well. The last one is the templates and standards to ensure uniformity and accuracy across contracts. Many organizations use predefined templates and guidelines for abstraction. It's common these days. These templates define the most important terms or elements to be abstracted from each type of contract and ensure that the same set of data is consistently captured. Templates can be used in both manual as well as automated abstraction process. Let's say, I'll give you an example. Let's say a legal team needs to abstract service agreement. A template for abstraction might include predefined sections for contract parties, payment terms, scope of work, termination provisions, etc. When abstracting this service agreement, whether manually or using AI tool, the team will ensure that these sections are captured according to the template. So your template itself should be very accurate at the first, just as a first step. And for example, the abstraction might look something like contract parties, payment terms, scope of work, termination, liability. All these you can predefine them. So by using templates and standardized guidelines, the organization ensures that all relevant information is captured consistently across contracts, making it easier to compare and retrieve data from different agreements. You can see the benefits of using these templates and standards on the right, extreme right, which is consistency, efficiency, and accuracy. With this, I end this topic. But I would also want to add that contract abstraction is a vast topic and we plan to cover it further in our upcoming webinar. So stay tuned and be sure to follow us for more updates. Over to you, Sam.
Well, thank you very much for those great insights, KV. In the next part, we'd like to encourage people who are watching this video, whether it is right now or at a later time, to post any questions you may have on the comment section. We will try to answer them as soon as possible, and if we don't get to them right now, we will be sure to contact you to make sure that we can solve them. While we wait for a couple more seconds, I'd like to remind you that this webinar will be available on our LinkedIn page, as well as on our YouTube channel. I'd like to share KV's contact information that you can see right now on the screen. Please feel free to reach out to her if you have any questions on how our legal support services can help your business. As you can see, once again, the information is on the screen. You can take note of that. And we'll wait just a couple more seconds to check if we have any questions. Let's see. No, apparently we don't have any questions right now, but that's okay. We've given people enough time for this. So even though there were no questions at the time, we'll keep an eye out for any questions that may be asked in the upcoming days. So thank you very much. And with this, we will conclude today's session. To learn more about our services, you can visit our website at www.247digitize.com. Thank you very much for your valuable time. We really appreciate it. And please stay tuned for upcoming webinars. Thank you for your participation.
Thank you all. Thanks, Sam.
Thank you.
Bye.